What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. There's a lot going on with the Red Sox right now. The Red Sox pitching staff is trying to not become part of history. The Red Sox themselves are only about 2 games from being eliminated officially from the postseason. Tristan Casas and Reese McGuire continue to tear down the New York Yankees, and Xander Bogaerts is going for a batting title. There's a lot going on with the Red Sox right now, which is why I think this topic got swept under the rug a little bit. Trevor Story is back onto the IL again. He's only played 13 games in the second half of this MLB season, and that's leading some Red Sox fans to be concerned about the contract that we gave Trevor Story. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about whether or not you as a Red Sox fan should be worried about Trevor Story and his future here with the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. Not only do we talk Red Sox content almost every single day if you're new here, but we're only about 15 subscribers away from 2,000. So let's see if we can get there this video. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. There are more than just injuries that are concerning Red Sox fans about Trevor Story, but I'm here to put those to rest because the simple answer to that question as to whether or not the Red Sox should be worried about Trevor Story is no. No, you should not be worried about Trevor Story, and let me tell you why. Let's start with the injuries because that's the most recent topic to come up in terms of Trevor Story. Yes, he spent a lot of time on the IL this year, but he hasn't had a lot of injuries, if that makes sense. His first injury, the big one, is his hand injury where he took a fastball off the hand. Now, the reason he ended up on the IL so long was because he was misdiagnosed initially. The Red Sox staff did not catch the fact that he had a hairline fracture, and that hairline fracture ended up putting more time onto his IL stint than originally anticipated. His second injury this year was that heel injury, whether it was soreness, tightness, whatever. It's something to do with his heel. Now, that is something, in my opinion, that he could probably play through. If the Red Sox were in a contention spot, if they were going for a wild card or they were in a wild card spot, I can almost guarantee Trevor Story would be in this lineup almost every single day, if not at a DH position at second base. Because of the fact that the Red Sox are not in a wild card position, because they are not vying for a playoff position, in my opinion, the Red Sox are being cautious. They're like, hey, why risk Trevor Story getting further injured and preventing him from being 100% in 2023 if 2022 doesn't really mean much, right? So in my opinion, this heel injury, yes, obviously it's affecting him, but I still think he would have been able to play through it had it been in a competitive year. So while it may seem like Trevor Story's been hurt a lot of this year, it's technically right. Yes, he spent a lot of time on the IL, but he hasn't been hurt in ways that make him sort of fragile, that make him prone to injuries, right? The first one, a fastball off the hand, that's a freak injury. That's something that even a freak athlete like Trevor Story can't really avoid. It's gonna happen to anybody, right? That could have happened to every single player on this Red Sox team. It just sort of happened to Trevor Story. And the heel thing, and the most recent reason he is on the IL, in my opinion, that's out of an abundance of caution and not because Trevor Story truly cannot play baseball right now. Now let's talk about the other reasons why people may be concerned about Trevor Story and then talk about why it's not a problem. Now, when Trevor Story first came here, it really wasn't a secret that Trevor Story was an all-around great player. He had power, he had contact, he was obviously a great fielder, he had speed, he was what people consider a 5-tool player. But one of the things that concerned Red Sox fans initially and is still kind of lingering today is his ability to consistently make contact. Yes, the beginning of the year was rocky for him, but you got to remember too, he was playing for a new team, a team that he initially did not want to come to, right? Obviously, he's happy to be on the Red Sox now, but he wanted to go to the Texas Rangers and go home, and they did offer him a contract. He had a kid. He got sick. He didn't really have a short spring training. He was playing a new position, right? There are a ton of reasons why this season did not go the way I think Red Sox fans wanted it to go for Trevor Story. Now, I'm not making excuses because those excuses only last for a certain amount of time, but the second half came around and we started to see the true Trevor Story. When Trevor Story came back from the IL, he really turned things on. In the second half of this season, granted he's only played 13 games, he's hitting 340 with 150 OPS plus, meaning he is 50% more productive at the plate in the second half than the average player in baseball. Those are pretty impressive statistics, and that's the trend in the right direction if you're talking in terms of offensive numbers. Even with Trevor Story's really slow start to this season, Trevor Story is still an above average hitter at the plate, hitting at a 103 OPS plus, making him slightly better than the average player production wise at the plate. That's about about a 3% better than the rest of the league. He was also on pace for a 2020 season, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bags. If Trevor Story did not get hurt this year, you're looking at over 20 home runs from Trevor Story, over 20 stolen bases, and definitely an OPS plus over 103. So injuries kind of did derail his season a little bit, but his offensive numbers are trending in the right direction. That's a positive sign for Red Sox fans. In fact, you should be the opposite of worried when looking at Trevor Story's offensive numbers. You should be more excited for 2023 as he's getting into a groove, getting more comfortable with this team, and hitting the ball much better than he's hit in the first half of the season. He's trending in the right direction, and that is going to be a positive sign for 2023. In fact, I'm expecting a really good offensive year from Trevor Story in 2023, especially because he will be able to play a full season for the Red Sox and utilize that monster more than he has in the past. The other reason I'm not worried at all about the future of Trevor Story with this team is his defense. I assume most of you guys know and understand how good Trevor Story is at second base, but just in case you didn't, let's go over some numbers. This year at second base, Trevor Story has 5 defensive runs saved and 8 total runs saved this year. In terms of context for the rest of the league, the average around the league is 0. If you are 0 defensive runs saved and 0 total runs saved, you are an average fielder in baseball. In fact, some could even argue that a -1, you're still an average fielder in baseball. Trevor Story is miles ahead of that in terms of defensive numbers for second base, and to me, that's extremely impressive. Like we talked about when we talked about his hitting, right? All of those factors are definitely a part of him coming to the Boston Red Sox. It also makes what he's doing at second base more impressive. He's playing a brand new position, a position he had never played professionally, right? Obviously, shortstop and second base have similarities, but they're completely different positions. So for him to be able to move from shortstop to second base and play second base at an elite level, because if Trevor Story wasn't injured at all this year, you're talking about most likely the best defensive second baseman in all of baseball, because he's still top 3 regardless of the fact that he was on the IL for a lot of this year. And you're probably looking at a Gold Glove candidate, most likely a Gold Glove winner if he's playing the entire year. Now that is wildly impressive for a guy who has never played second base in his life at the professional level. Obviously he played some in the minors, whatever, in Major League Baseball, right? He's never played second base, and yet he comes here and he is immediately a Gold Glove candidate in a position that he has never played. That is something that you should be excited about. Obviously, Trevor Story is going to be our second baseman for the next 5 years after this season. That is a good sign for the Red Sox. We've had a hole at second base for a while. Basically, since Dustin Pedroia went down, it's been a revolving door. To finally have a guy like Trevor Story at second base, a defensive menace at second base, is something that we've been missing for a long time, and that should get people excited, not worried about Trevor Story. Trevor Story coming in here and solidifying second base, to me, is one of the biggest pluses of getting Trevor Story here in that contract. So yes, while Trevor Story's had a rocky first go of it with the Boston Red Sox, I don't think anyone should be worried or concerned about Trevor Story in the future, especially on this Red Sox team. He's only going to get better and more comfortable at the second base position. He's only going to get better and more comfortable in that clubhouse. He's only going to get better and more comfortable at the plate and at Fenway Park. And those are all factors that are going to lead to more success for Trevor Story. And I'm excited to watch him grow. But I want your guys' opinion. After everything I laid out here, are you still concerned with Trevor Story? Are you like, why are we making this video, Corbin? Of course I'm not worried about Trevor Story. What are your thoughts on Trevor Story? Are you concerned or are you not concerned? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button. Like I said at the beginning, not only do we talk Red Sox content almost every single day, but we are also almost to 2,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can get there in this video. Also, make sure if you made it to the end here, you clearly enjoyed the content, hit that like button as well. Again, it helps out these videos a ton, would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seat.